just pause it as it, so we aren't echoing. I love that Zoom lets you do this now. Technology is awesome. And we've got a few people waiting to come in, so I can let them in. There we go. And we can welcome everyone. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Hi, Beth. Hi, Bia. I know this is very late for you, Bia, but you're very keen. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're enjoying the clearing and the cleansing and the purge of this new moon that we've just had. Holy moly, Cindy.
Holy moly.
So we are gathering today, though, to go through an amazing, amazing process, which is wealth activation, which is all about what Cindy does. She is incredible at this. She has turned her whole life around through wealth activation. And it's really about the wealth being an inside job. We generate wealth. We don't actually source it from resources outside ourselves. So today is a beautiful introduction to this. Hello, welcome. And this is just the jumping off point. This is going to be a big focus of what we are doing. Hi, beautiful. And, you know, there's going to be so much more coming for this. So watch this space. Cindy's going to let us know about it at the end. But thank you, beautiful soul, for tuning in with us from all around the world. We have Europe, we have North America, we have Australia. But Cindy, thank you. Welcome.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Everybody knows me as the numerology, the numbers girl. Yeah, well, money is just numbers too.
Aha, yep.
I love to play with all things numbers.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me. It is so lovely to see you on the call. Hello, Eugenia. Hello, Bia. Jennifer. Hi, Beth. Hi, Libby.
Hi.
Okay.
Funny.
So before I came on the call today, I was just kind of feeling into the intention behind why it's so important for me to activate wealth, why it is that I am passionate about this. And it comes from my past. I didn't have the greatest money story. And it's only in the last probably year that things have really started to shift for me, because I started to understand what money really is. And there is a need for liberation from the old story. And so many of us are caught up in what we were taught about money as children, what we were taught about money as we were growing up. I know in my 20s, I was terrible with money. My mom, because my dad passed away when I was 16, my mom was given a huge insurance payout, and she just wanted us kids to be happy. And so whatever I wanted, I got. And so I came from a background of growing up being told that money doesn't grow on trees to all of a sudden it fell from the sky. And that didn't create the best money story for me as I was going through my early 20s and even into my early 30s. And then I decided to, pull up my big girl panties and get to work. And because I grew up on a farm, I was taught this work ethic where if you just work hard, you'll be successful. And so I hustled. I was working 17-hour days, 7 days a week, burning the candle at both ends, thinking that if I just worked a little harder, I would somehow break through this financial cap that I had set for myself. And what happened was I ended up burning out. I ended up being exhausted, and I couldn't make ends meet. I was literally living PayPal to PayPal, paycheck to paycheck.
Love that.
And I thought, something's got to change here. Like, I'm obviously not doing something right, because the working hard, which I had been taught when I was a kid, was what would make you more successful, wasn't working. I was proof of that. Yeah. And so I started looking for other alternatives. Like, what else is possible here? There's got to be something else. And I met Joy Kingsborough. Of course, it's all, everything comes back to Joy when it comes to my work. And she began to teach me what money really is. So today I kind of want to start off a conversation, and I would love to bring everybody in to share some of their stories as well. If you can't vocalize, that's totally fine. But I would, even in the chat, I would just love to hear some of the phrases or stories that you heard about money when you were growing up. Some of my favorites from when I was a kid were things like money doesn't grow on trees. You have to be ruthless to be rich. We can't afford it. That was a good one too. You have to spend money to make money. Yes. My personal favorite from my dad was the universe is conspiring to separate you from your money. Wow, that was a fun one to navigate.
Very specific.
Very specific, yeah. So I would love for everybody to share, whether it's in the comments or vocalize, what were some of the stories you heard growing up? We'll start with you, Libby.
Yeah, definitely the money doesn't grow on trees. And the harder you work, the more you can earn. Mm-hmm. And when I've dived into this before, like in meditation, it has been very much about partnering with money or working with money is hard. Like the relationship with money is hard. Yeah. It's always, there's struggle. It's hard to get, hard to keep. So that's very ingrained.
You got to spend money to make money.
Yep, definitely. Definitely.
All these stories. I'm seeing some in the chat too. What do we got here? We can't afford it. We don't have money. Yeah, yes. Those are common. Those are very common.
Yes.
What else? What other stories did we hear growing up? I'd love to hear. There's always so many. And, sometimes we hear the stories of like, we have so much money that we have to give it all away, right? Or, you have to be mean to have money. You have to be, I don't know, like Donald Trump to be rich, right?
Yeah. That wanting money is greedy.
Yes, the starving artist archetype. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen a few of those, especially in the healing industry, right? And we come in, we just want to be of service. We want to help. Being rich is for other people.
Yes.
Not for you. No.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Jason. Yes. And, being rich is for everybody if you want it. If you want it. If you don't want it, then it's not for you. But if you do want it, then you can have it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. So the next question I want to raise is, how do you currently feel about money? Are those stories continuing to run your life? Do you still believe that money doesn't grow on trees? Money's made out of paper, so technically it does grow on trees.
Except in Australia, it's all plastic crap now.
Canadian money is plastic too.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, we have waterproof money here. It's great.
Yes. The US just can't catch up, hey?
Right? During COVID, it was funny because my Nathan, he likes to buy and sell things on Facebook Marketplace. And because COVID was such a thing, receiving cash, like physical cash from somebody was a little bit nerve-wracking. And Nathan started literally laundering money in the kitchen sink. So he would pour some disinfectant in the sink and wash the money.
Clean money.
That's
money. So good. Well, that's another story, right? About dirty money. Money is dirty.
Right? Money's dirty.
Yes.
Yeah. Money's covered in germs and all sorts of things. Yeah. So how do you currently feel about money? What's that story?
Well, me personally, I've been doing a bit of work around this, and I am understanding that money is energy, and I'm understanding that I can generate the source of wealth and money within me first. And I'm following the ripple effect of the money out into the world. So that has been a huge shift. Even what did I pay for yesterday? I paid in cash yesterday for groceries. And I always, I do the virtual wallet on the phone. And I actually handed over cash. And I was like, this is such a beautiful exchange. And I was like, not only is this paying for her wages, but it's paying for blah, 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 blah. So I won't go too far down that road, but it was a really beautiful shift because there is so many transactions that we do mindlessly, buying online, PayPal, it's not real anymore. So it's nice to bring the focus back to the fact that this is actually real and it does have its own energy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you bring that up too, is that, you know, you're working on it and you're embracing it as potentially being true, right? But it's not something that we just one day wake up and go, oh, money is just energy. And we immediately embody that and it becomes who we are. It's not that easy for the mind to go from, but money's this thing that I hold on to money is intangible and it's energy and it needs to come and go. So that was something that it's definitely taken me a year to embrace. And there are still times where I'm like, I got to pay that bill. And then I catch myself and go, oh, right. Yeah, I want to pay that bill. I'm choosing to pay that bill. Right. So we'll get into that a little bit. The next thing I want to bring up is how we stop the flow of money. So we have a tendency, because we are caught up in our past stories and our current stories about what money is or what we thought it was or what we were taught that it was. And we create resentment, we create blame, shame, judgment, resistance. We refuse to receive money because we think it's bad or dirty. I remember Nathan turning down a sale because he thought that he didn't want to receive money because it was covered in COVID germs, right?
Yeah.
We block the flow of money to ourselves. He could have taken an e-transfer.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a lot of guilt and shame and blame that comes up when it comes to money. So I'll tell a little bit of a personal story. Libby and I recently did a workshop with Joy Kingsborough, and I've been doing this work for quite some time. But there was a client I was holding on to because I felt like I needed the money I was receiving from her every month to month to month. And this had been going on for a year and a half. And I was highly triggered by this particular client. And I was rescuing her all the time. I was saving her from stuff that she didn't understand how to do. And instead of empowering her to figure it out on her own, I would just fix it for her. Now, this is work that I teach and I tell people not to do. And here I was doing it for a year and a half, but I was completely unaware of it. I just thought, you know, she gives me $500 a month every month for me to rescue her. That's what I was doing. And I was so triggered by her, but I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And as we were going through this workshop, I had this awareness of, oh my gosh, like I was so ashamed of myself because I had been rescuing this client for a year and a half. I had not empowered her. This is the work I teach, was don't rescue people. And yet here I was doing it. And I was doing work that I hated, that I had swore to myself I would never do again. So all the judgment rose up and like, oh my God, how could you do that? How could you get caught up in that pattern again? How could you be so stupid? You know, we all use that language when it comes to ourselves, right? We never say it to our friends, to our kids. We never do that. We say it to ourselves. And so I caught it right away on the call with Joy and landed into a forgiveness process. And in that was able to, I let go of the client that day. I fired the client and let go of her. And there was some clearing that needed to occur. I ended up getting sick for a couple of weeks because I had held on to it for so long and my body was exhausted. And my body finally went, oh, thank God, we can let that go now, right? So we stopped the flow of money because what I was doing was thinking I needed that $500 a month just to survive and pay my bills. But in letting go of that $500 a month, the next time I looked at my bank account, I realized I had made 10 grand that month. Do you think $500 made a difference to that? No, it sure didn't. And so by releasing that client, letting go of the mental attachment, letting go of the old story, which is what I started this conversation with, there is a need for liberation from the story. I created a new story. And now I'm like, I will not take on clients that are out of alignment. I'm always asking, what are your top 3 values? Are they in alignment with mine? What do you want? And if you don't know what you want, we got to get clear on that first. And so that's brought me into alignment with the energy of money. So The energy of money is the next piece of the conversation here. What is money? Money is an energetic frequency. It is a vibrational frequency. So if you as a human are vibrating at a frequency like this, and money is coming in at a vibrational frequency like this, it's not going to match. And you're going to bounce off of each other and you're going to repel money. Money doesn't like hard work. Money doesn't like misery. Money doesn't like it when you sit in front of your computer for 17 hours a day. Money doesn't like complaining. Imagine that you had a friend and you went over to visit this friend every day. And every day, this particular friend was like, oh man, I'm so broke and I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. And I'm so stressed out and I'm so worried. And oh my God, my kids are doing this thing and then I got to do this. And do you want to spend every day with that friend? No. But what if you went over to another friend's house and every single day that person's like, oh my God, I'm so grateful and I can't wait and I'm going to go play and I'm going to go do this thing. And do you want to come with me? Do you want to hang out with that friend every day? Heck yes, right? Money's the same. If we look at money as if it is a relationship, who does money want to hang out with? Money wants to hang out with the person who's having fun and full of life and joy and gratitude and playful. Money wants to hang out with the person who's frolicking in the backyard, having an amazing time at life. So when you are vibrating like this and complaining and worried and stressed out about money, and money comes in like this, bounce off of each other. If you are vibrating like this and money's vibrating like this, you join together. I don't know how else to best describe
that. And anybody who saw day 2, I'm pretty sure it was day 2 of our Good Vibrations 5-day journey, that's exactly what we spoke about, is the resonance and the dissonance. So resonating with money or dissonance with money or the people around you, it cancels each other out. So yes, a love heart from Beth. She's like, I remember that. I had my charts on the wall and I'm drawing them. Yeah.
Drawing with my hands.
Yeah.
See, I'm playing. Money is attracted to me because I'm playing. So there's a few of the universal laws that Joy talks about that I also talk about all the time that come into play when it comes to money. So the first one is that law of resonance that we were just talking about, and we are attracted to the frequency of our matching alignment. So if you are attracted to money, if you love money, if you get excited about money, you're like, oh, I get to play with money. I'm so excited. Yes, I get to pay a bill. And yes, I get to receive money too, but I also get to pay my internet bill. And I'm so excited about this. It is resonant with that. And it's going to come in more and more often. And I'm going to talk about paying bills and all of those things because that can be hard sometimes. The next law is the law of compensation. We will be compensated materially based on the purity of our service to the world. So if you are being of service to the world, you are guaranteed to be compensated for that. Guaranteed. Yes, I use that word specifically. It is not, well, you know, I did some good work for the world, but maybe it was just for charity. No. If you are of service to the world, you are guaranteed to be compensated. A really good book to read, The Law of Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson. Excellent book, talks about that law entirely. If you are doing good work in the world, you deserve to be paid. So no more starving artists. The next law that comes into play is the law of abundance. We receive more of everything we believe we are. So if we believe we are abundant, we will receive more of that in return. If we believe that we're a starving artist, we'll receive more of that in return. We'll receive more clients who want us to give away our services. We'll receive more people who want the freebies and the tire kickers who don't want to purchase our services. But if we believe we are wealthy, if we believe we are abundant, then we receive more. And we get clients who want to pay us in full, who want to give things to us because they see our worthiness as well. You have something to add there, Livy?
I do, because I love that that was like the third step or the third law that you brought in, but so many people jump straight to the law of abundance. Like that is, so you hear everyone's chanting about the law of attraction and just match the vibration of money, and you'll call it in to you. Whereas there are so many other steps: understanding the dissonance and the resonance, understanding that it is a law that you will be compensated, and then the law of abundance can be activated. So
you notice that was the third law.
The magic number 3, right?
Yeah, exactly. The name of the book, The Law of Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson. Yeah. So the importance of believing you are wealthy, I can't express this enough. Every day, wake up, I am wealthy. Make this an affirmation, write this on your mirror, write it down, journal about it, write about it, pray about it, make it part of your being. I am wealthy. And if the word wealthy triggers you, good. It's meant to. It's meant to stir up that emotion in your body so that your body can release that emotion and become wealthy. That's really the whole point here, is that we are all wealthy. All you have to do is go out in nature for 5 minutes, and you cannot deny the abundance and wealth that this planet has. Even in the middle of winter in Canada, there is a wealth of snow. There's an abundance of, well, today it's rain. It's pouring rain. So there's an abundance of rain here. At my mom's, she got 10 inches of snow over the weekend. There is an abundance of snowflakes. I said to Mom over the weekend, because she was complaining about it, I said, but look at how wealthy you are. And she was like, oh yeah, I am. And then lo and behold, somebody came over and snowblowed her driveway out for her and didn't charge her for it. See, she's wealthy. So the more we believe that, the more we land into the fun and the gratitude and the play and the flow and ease of it, the easier it becomes. The next law is the law of convergence. So energetic forces are brought together to experience mutual intention. So this is what I was talking about with the relationship, in that money doesn't want to hang out with somebody who's miserable. Money wants to hang out with somebody who's love and playful and joyful and expresses gratitude for the inward and outward flow of money. So this is where I bring in the bills conversation. I don't know who loves paying bills. I do. When I pay my internet bill, I express so much gratitude. Thank you. Thank you, because this internet gives me the ability to teach workshops all over the world. It allows me to connect with my business partners in Australia and with people in Europe and all over the world. It allows me to move my work out into the world in a bigger way. It creates connection when we can't meet in person. All of these pieces, right? When I pay my rent, thank you for giving me a roof over my head and this beautiful home that I've created. Thank you. When I pay for parking, thank you for this beautiful parking spot right in front of the restaurant, because I always get a parking spot right in front of a restaurant every time, without fail. So expressing gratitude, not only for when we receive money, but also for when we spend money, like you were talking about with paying for groceries, right? It's this energetic exchange. You were giving money to this human who was giving you groceries in exchange. But that money didn't go into the grocer's pocket, right? That money was distributed to everybody who helped grow the food, everybody who helped package the food, everybody who helped stock the food on the shelves, everybody who helped you pay for the food. Like, that money gets distributed in so many areas, and the impact that has to just pay for groceries alone is limitless.
Yeah. Because there's the cleaners of the store, and there's the truck driver, and then there's the truck driver whose daughter gets to do ballet classes because of and understanding that ripple is truly amazing. Now, this idea, it popped into my head, and Jason's just mentioned it as well. And I know that you have an amazing process that you do.
I'll get to that next.
Regarding the automation of bills.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Jason. And this is where it comes to the next piece. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. I just want to finish up the law of convergence first. One of the questions that I love to ask my money, because your money is a relationship, it's not a physical thing. But if you think about what it is that you want your money to do for you. So I go on a money date once a week. This is something, so if you go on a date with your significant other, or if you're in the dating world and you're going out, do you show up in your pajamas without your teeth brushed and don't brush your hair and just kind of like, hey, how's it going? Or I don't mean crashing on the couch at the end of the night. Or do you go to a date and you shower, first of all, and you get cleaned up and you maybe get yourself feeling all good and looking nice. And maybe you light some candles and maybe you go out for a nice meal together, right? So considering how you would want to show up for a date, not only how do you want to show up, but how do you want your money to show up for you? Oftentimes we think, well, we just need to save a whole bunch of money in a bank account in case of emergency. In case of emergency is asking for an emergency. I have money in a savings account so that I can buy things for my new apartment that I'm moving into in 15 days, so that I can invest in my future growth, so that I can go out for beautiful dinners, so that I can hang out with my friends and play, so that I can travel to Australia when the borders open.
I was just about to add that one.
My money is showing up for me in a way that is intentional. Now, saving in case of an emergency is intentional too, but I don't think anybody in this room wants an emergency. So what do you want your money to show up for you for? One of my favorite exercises that Joy gets you to do, if you have $5 million, what would you spend it on? Super fun, also super hard to do. It's really hard to spend $5 million. If you think from the perspective of where you're at financially now. Unless you have $5 million, if you're in this room and you have $5 million, then take it to a higher level, spend 10 million, because your imagination can go wild, right? So there are a few other laws that apply to wealth activation, but I don't want to dive too much into the universal laws because I want to get to my system, because the system is really important. So, and this relates to Jason's question about bills being forgotten about. So the way that I show up for my money every week is I sit with it for an hour. So I've made a ritual out of this. You can do this in any way you see fit. And this is something that I teach in my upcoming program, 21 Days of Wealth. But this is, I light a candle, I put on some nice music. I am not in my pajamas. Now, I don't wear makeup usually, so I don't put makeup on, but I make sure that I'm showered and clean and, that there's no negative energy hanging about either. I also make sure my energetic field is clean. And then I have a beautiful spreadsheet that I have created. I've been working with this myself for 2 years and have now been moving it out with private clients, and it is tried, tested, and true. And so I'm rolling it out in the 21 Days of Wealth. And this is a system where we track all of our expenses and all of our income, both personal and business. Now, if you don't have a business, that's totally fine. You can do this without a business. In fact, I encourage it either way. But you're tracking all of the incoming and outgoing. So you're tracking those bills that are automated and you're aware of them. Doing this piece alone, you will find so many things that you don't need, and you will plug so many leaks. Oh yeah, that subscription that I haven't used in over a year that I'm still paying $8.99 a month for. Oh, that magazine that I haven't actually even received because I moved 6 months ago, but I'm still paying for it, right? So we start plugging some of the money leaks first and foremost. But by tracking your income and expenses, you can see clearly how much is going out and how much is coming in. I'm going to speak from the entrepreneurial perspective because that's my mindset, but you can do this whether you have a business or not. But seeing how much is coming in and seeing how much is going out gives you a very clear snapshot of what's happening in your finances in that very moment. Now, this system I've created isn't one that you show to your accountant. This is for you and you alone. I don't recommend showing this to an accountant because it's never going to be exact. It's not like to the penny, but it is really helpful in helping you understand the relationship that you have with money. And by plugging leaks and closing down subscriptions that you no longer use and cutting off expenses that you no longer need, you find often that you're actually making a lot more money than you think. Because oftentimes we think, oh, I need to make more money. In my experience, 80% of the time, it's you need to spend less. So there's that piece to it. The next piece we go to is what I've learned through several different business strategists, coaches, and a book called Profit First. Now, the book is great, but it's complicated, and I don't recommend anybody go down that rabbit hole because it's confusing. But what I did was I took what I learned from my business strategist and the book and I simplified it. This is one of my superpowers, is taking highly complicated ideas and making them super simple. So this is similar to T. Harv Eker did a JARS system. I think Tony Robbins might have something like this too. There's an envelope system. This is what I call allocations. So as an entrepreneur, we have to be aware of allocating enough money for a personal income tax. As employees, we have to do that too. There's money that needs to be allocated into savings accounts, into business expenses, into personal expenses. So, and I've also created allocations for savings accounts and my personal favorite, a profit account. The profit account immediately makes it so that you have profit in your business. Or even as an employee, you could create a profit account and put 1% of your earnings aside. And then every quarter, you get to take half that money out and go spend it on whatever you want, like a trip to Australia. So we allocate the money based on, your needs, your personal and business expenses. We dive into those percentages and things once we get into the spreadsheet itself. It's not going to be the same for everybody. It changes depending on personal needs, personal expenses, business expenses, family expenses, all of those pieces. But we start with the allocation percentages. Once we have the allocation percentages dialed in, the next piece to the spreadsheet is the money magic sheet. And this is where I go every week. And I look at all the money that came in and I get really excited and I celebrate. And I'm like, oh, look at all the money that came into my account. And then I allocate it. And it moves into where it needs to be to support how I want my money to show up for me. So 20% goes into my tax account, a certain percentage goes into profit, another percentage goes into personal expenses. I even allocate my personal expenses now because my rent has increased a lot now that I'm moving. And so I've allocated all that out too. And it does it automatically. So I don't have to think about it. I just plug in one number, how much money came into my account this week, and it just goes boom, like this. And it gives you all the numbers and where all the money needs to go. You allocate it, you move it into the different accounts. Then you're going and you're looking at the balances of your accounts and you're changing all of those balances and you're playing with your money and you're seeing what's there and you're seeing the debt that you may have. But you're also paying off the debt because you're allocating money towards the debt. And it gets fun. I'm doing this with a private client right now. She's $30,000 in debt. She came to me in tears because she was like, I don't know what I'm doing. We paid off over $1,000 worth of debt for her last week because of allocations. And she was in tears of gratitude because we were able to do this for her with a very simple system. Part of the energetics of money is showing up for your money on a regular basis. I recommend once a week and sitting with this system and understanding, looking at the bills that need to be paid, looking at the money that's coming in, spending time with it. If you had a significant relationship and you didn't show up for it for 6 months, how do you think that relationship would be? Not so great. I had another client who I no longer work with. She asked me to track her money for her. And I did it. I realized later that wasn't the best move, but she discovered that she actually made $100,000 last year. And she was so afraid to look at her numbers that she had no idea. And when we did her tracking and we figured it out, she had this huge celebration. Well, it's November. She waited till November to celebrate a 6-figure year. She could have been doing it in March because she actually made that $100,000 in the first quarter. So by showing up for our money, expressing gratitude for those bills, whether they're automated or not, because if you're using this system that I've created, even if it's automated, you're watching that money, you know it's going out, and you can express gratitude for it. You're aware of the expenses you have, and you can express gratitude for those expenses. You're aware of the expenses that need to be shut down. You can express gratitude for noticing them and shutting them down, right? So there's two pieces to this. First, you need to forgive the old story and let go of the old story. Your parents didn't know any better. So let's stop blaming our parents. We can forgive our parents. They didn't know any better. They were taught by their parents and their parents and their parents. So we can let that go. We can forgive the old story. One of my favorite things is a letter to my money. I write a love letter to my money, and I forgive myself for ever believing that I wasn't worthy. And I use the process of the Ho'oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And you can write out whatever comes top of mind when it comes to your money story. I'm sorry that I ever believed that I wasn't worthy. I'm sorry that I ever believed that my work in the world wasn't worth compensation. I am so sorry that I have not looked at my numbers in over 6 months. Please forgive me for not paying attention to you. Please forgive me for ever thinking that you didn't need my attention. Thank you for supporting me and loving me and keeping a roof over my head and keeping me fed. And thank you for feeding my children. And thank you for the impact and the ripple effect that you're moving out into the world. I got goosebumps just by transmuting that simple little thing, right? So forgiveness of the old story, using whatever forgiveness technique works for you. I don't care what you use, just do it. That's all that matters. And then the next piece, are you willing to write a new story? Are you willing to write a new story where wealth is inherently yours, where it is your birthright to be wealthy?
Sorry, Cindy, Jason. Jason and I, we met at a Wealth Matrix event, and there was an incantation that was taught. And I think it's the very first line is wealth is my birthright.
Yeah,
and Jason knows it off by heart. He teaches his kids. Yeah. And yeah, I can hear him shouting it now. So good. And then you just said it.
Yes, wealth is our birthright. Absolutely. And I use the word wealth intentionally, because there are so many people that talk about abundance and the law of attraction, and there's so much more to it than that. Wealth, there are 3 pillars to wealth. Number 1, healing the old story, period. Number 2, the energy, understanding the energy behind it. And then number 3, stewardship. Stewarding the relationship that you have with money. It's wonderful to go through life thinking that you're keeping your vibe high and thinking that you're attracting money and you're abundant and you're receiving all this money. That's great. But if you're not tracking it, you're not wealthy. You just have a lot of money landing in your bank account. That does not make you wealthy. Being wealthy means you know that your income tax is paid, no problem. That the bills that need to be paid are paid and the money's sitting there. You know exactly how your money is showing up for you and how you are showing up for your money. And oftentimes we miss one of those pillars in all of the conversation that we have about wealth activation, about abundance. Abundance is great, but if you don't know what abundance level you're at, how can you ever raise it? So we need to track our money too. So I'd love to open it up for questions. A couple of pieces that you can do. There is the first one I love to use is called the money magnet exercise. Now this one can get a little bit crazy and people might judge you, but don't worry about it because you are a money magnet. Whenever I'm walking down the street or I'm in a shop or anywhere and I find money, you know, when you find a dime laying on the ground or $1 or whatever, I will pick it up, COVID and all, I will pick it up and I will jump up and down like an idiot, super excited, be like, I am a money magnet. And I get so excited because money loves that, right? And I don't care what other people think of me. So I'm going to invite you to start playing that game every time you find money. I am a money magnet. The next piece, gratitude for the in and the out. Every time you pay a bill, thank you. Whether it's automated or not, you see that money go out of your bank account, thank you. Welcoming money home. When you receive money, what do? Do you just like allocate it out and just, cool, that was great? Or do you get excited for a few minutes and then, oh, I gotta pay all these bills? Welcome it home. Just give it a moment and just say, thank you. Thank you for being here. The next piece, steward your money. Whether you use my system or someone else's, just pay attention to your money. Track your income and expenses, if nothing else. You jump up and down too. I love it. That's what we're meant to do, is embarrass the kids. It's fine. And then the last piece is, which Libby, I know you loved this exercise, is writing a 100 list of possibilities. Writing a list of 100 ways that money could possibly come to you. That one's super fun.
That is super fun. And there is a shift that happens. Joy said nothing else other than just something magical happens at around the 50 mark. And once I got to 52, I just had this realization, and I'm not going to share it because everyone needs to experience that for themselves. But a new realization was integrated. It wasn't a learning. It wasn't a, oh, that's a nice idea. It came into the cells of my body. So I think it took about 3 weeks for me to even get to that 52. Mm-hmm. But I highly encourage is to just sit down and start writing and taking note of all the possibilities, because it's cool. It's very magical.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I'd love to open it up for questions or comments or anything that may have come up during this conversation. I'd love to open it up. Quiet.
He's too shy. Anyone have any questions? Or even maybe acknowledging what you already do?
Mm-hmm.
And Helen, I noticed you had a haircut. Hope you enjoy it. Your camera's off now, but I noticed before. Post-COVID. The first post-COVID haircut.
Love it.
Cool. No questions? Good, I'm glad. I am glad.
Well, I must have covered everything if we don't have any questions.
Yes. You do some of those already.
Can't seem to find a practical system that works. Yes, I did create my own. Yeah, so Julia, there was I've learned numerous systems over the years. I've had numerous money coaches. None of it really worked until I created my own system that was super simple. So Julie, I'd be happy to, have a conversation with you about that and kind of share how I've created the system. I do work privately with clients with it as well. And I am moving out the 21 Days of Wealth, where I'm going to teach you how to use that system. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I'm pretty good with money, but it's interesting hearing today. I'm like, part of my aspect is I don't really think about it.
Yeah.
Oh. And so I realised I haven't even done the exercise that Joyce said, and I'm just like, today I'm like, just get yourself organised. So thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Beautiful little tips there. I love it. I love the opa. I can never say that word. Hopa no or whatever it is.
I always say it wrong.
That one.
Oh no.
That one is good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you do some of those already, but you love the last one. Good. Yeah, it's funny, the organization of money. So this was something, I'm a super organized person. And I just thought, I came at it from the perspective of tracking my money first. without understanding the energetics of it. And so I would sit down once a week and I was tracking income and expenses and being super organized about it, except that I hated it. And I was spending that hour going, oh man, look at how broke I am, right? And that doesn't help, trust me. So we have to have all three of those pillars. It can't just be one and kind of half the other, because otherwise the whole thing tips over. We have to have all those three. So if you feel like you're not organized with money, I'm going to invite you to shift that belief just a little bit, because what if you didn't need to be organized with money? What if you just needed to understand and spend time with your money? So that might be helpful for you. Okay. I think I do a lot of the system you talked about, except the thinking about it and feeling grateful. It's often mindless. Okay. Well, you know where to go with that then, Jason. Gratitude. Oh, you're muted, Libby.
I think that's what a lot of people do. If they go to getting organized with money and knowing where it's going, it can be, especially if it's systematized, it's just
it's a task.
out of sight, out of mind. Okay, and I've been in the personal development journey. I've fallen into that trap of, there's always going to be enough. Always, that was the positive vibration that I wanted to bring to my beliefs around money. There's always going to be enough. It always works out. I was saying to Cindy, that's something that Trent and I both have, is like, it does always work out. It's all good. It's totally fine. However, just relying on it always working out and relying that there's always going to be enough there isn't enough. That is not creating wealth. That is just coasting along.
Yeah.
So bringing so much more intention and gratitude to it is how we can like build so much more and have more impact and ripple effects out into the world.
Yeah,
and I know
absolutely.
I know that you do a nice closed eye visualization as well with bringing it into the body. So we've probably run out of time today, but we could maybe do that another time.
Yeah, we can do that another time for sure. Yeah, absolutely. There was something that I wanted to talk about too. Something that you were bringing up. I've lost it now. Something to do with the tracking money. Oh, yes. So the tracking of money and understanding where it's going. So what this does is it just gives us a clear understanding of how we can get to what we want. It's one thing for us to be full of intention and yes, this is what I want and this is where I'm going, and release the attachment and release the how. That's one piece of it. But if we don't have a clear picture of our reality, then we'll never really get there. We have to have both sides of it. So we have to have kind of the masculine, feminine pieces of both, right? Having that clear intention, knowing who we are and what we want, and moving that forward and trusting the universe is going to have our back and everything's just going to work out for us. But if your reality, perceived reality, doesn't fit that picture, and you've got $50,000 worth of debt to pay off first, before you can buy that $1 million home or whatever it is, then we need to have a clear understanding of a way to pay off that $50,000 worth of debt, which is the system behind it, right? So you need to have that balance of both. And it gives you that clear snapshot of what's actually happening with your money so that you can then make informed decisions from there instead of just winging it and hoping for the best. Which is why I say never show this spreadsheet to your accountant, because your accountant will be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have an understanding accountant. She's seen it, but she's like, it doesn't make any sense to her. It's just, I've got dreams of, driving a Ferrari on my 40th birthday and traveling to Australia. And I've mapped out what the cost of these dreams are. If you have a big dream, you need to know how much that dream costs.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the different ways that you can actually experience that dream, because it is, you want something because you want the experience of it. And sometimes it might be, spending 6 weeks on a mega cruiser in the Whitsundays or whatever, you don't have to buy the mega cruiser. You can, you can hire, you can boat clubs, you like looking at all of the options.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, because everybody always thinks that I want to own a Ferrari, and I don't.
Yes.
I just want to drive one.
You want to experience it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Owning it seems like such high maintenance.
Yeah. We don't want high maintenance relationships.
No.
Beautiful. If there's, hang on. I did see something from Eugenia as well.
So anything of what you spoke about today, I definitely have to do a lot of cleaning around money. Yeah. And okay, so Eugenia, that brings up something. So we do need to heal the old story and release shame and blame and judgment when it comes to money. But I don't want you to spend all of your time there. We don't have to clear out all of our karma in order to become wealthy. We just have to notice what's triggering us in the moment. So Eugenia, I know you've gone through the brain game, so I know you understand what I'm talking about triggers and the blame cycle that we go into and the drama triangle that we land into. But if we spend all of our time on that pillar and we forget about the energetics of money and the stewardship of money, then we'll just stay in awareness all the time, and around and around and around we go. And we spend all of our time healing the old story, but we're not writing a new story. So we want to give fair balance to all three of the pillars, where we know and we understand what money really is. We understand that it's an energetic experience. We're creating that resonant field. We're raising our vibe. We're doing the work, but we're also spending time, as we're triggered about money, clearing that out, but not going to look for problems if they're not triggering you. If you're not triggered by something, it doesn't need to be dealt with. The moment you're triggered by it, deal with it then. But we don't need to go down rabbit holes and spend all of our time over there. And then the other piece too is stewardship, spending the time. Give yourself an hour once a week and just track your income and expenses at the very least. And give that space and time to build that relationship with money. As you're building the relationship, you will find a lot of the old stuff clears on its own without you having to do any of that work. And as you're building the relationship with money, just like with a significant other, as you're developing that relationship, more trust comes in, more appreciation, more respect. Pretty soon you fall in love. And then less and less of your time needs to be spent on healing the old story, because the new story is written and you're going down that path.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Amazing. So before we wrap up, I'll let you guys know that in a couple of days' time, we have the Clear Shift Transformation Workshop. I know, Eugenia, I know that you're already in, and it is a multi-speaker event, basically. So we have myself, Dr. Manjot Garcha, Julia Byrne, and Nancy Valentine-Smith, and a few days after, in a support follow-up session, is Joy Kingsborough. So it's we're bringing the goods. This is all about clearing a lot of what is holding us back, particularly coming to the end of 2020. There is a lot that needs to just stay here, and bringing in with us, so many people are stepping into their healing modalities, into their impact in the world. So there's a lot of past life gifts that we can bring in, and that is the focus of this particular workshop, is bringing in your past life gifts and activating them for the impact that you're going to be creating in the world. So that is a half-day workshop. It is virtual. You can tune in from home. It starts at 1 p.m. Sydney time on Sunday and goes through till 5. And then we follow up with Joy Kingsborough for a clearing and an activation with her next Friday as well. So that is what's happening in Soul Journey for the next little while. And then at the end of the month, Cindy's kicking off her 21 Days of Wealth. So yeah, watch this space.
So excited. We're going to write a new story.
So it's going to be everything you've shared with us today. It's going to be implementing it all, right?
Yes, implementing it all, and we're going to support mind, body, and spirit in wealth. So Joy Kingsborough is coming in for wealth activations and clearings. She'll be doing an activation once a week for the 3-week period. And we also have Michelle Lane coming in. She's a body worker, so she'll be supporting the body as we shift some of this old story and land into the new story. And then I'm going to teach you my system.
Yay. Yay. I've been waiting so long for this. Can't wait.
Libby's been,
Can't
it's
wait.
so funny.
Oh my
I've been
God.
like, no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. And then Libby's like, come on. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yes, love it. I love it. It's so needed. It is so needed. What is the price? So the Clear Shift workshop is 97 AUD. Any existing Soul Journey members get a VIP discount. So message me and I'll get you the code for that. And the 21 days of wealth, Cindy?
I'm playing with pricing. So I don't know, because as a wealth activator, I have to feel into the price. I don't just set a price. We're looking right now at $297 US.
Cool. For
the 3 weeks. I see Bia has a question too. What do you have to do when you want something and you don't have the money yet? Aha. Mm-hmm. So this is about the energetics of money. This is about raising your resonant field and your frequency to match the level of what you want. So spending time in visualization, meditation, contemplation, journaling, imagining it to already be true. And the more you do that, the more you're going to raise your own frequency and you're going to start actually calling it in. This is the way that the universal laws work, with a caveat. If you have the mental idea and thought, I don't have the money, it's going to block you. So imagine that you already have the money, and imagine that you already have this thing, because it's not a thing that you want, it's the experience with the thing that you want. So maybe there's a way that you can go and actually experience it. If it's, maybe you want to own a piece of artwork, maybe you can go to a museum or an art gallery and just go view the art, right? Or if maybe, for me, it's a Ferrari day today. If you want to drive a Ferrari, then go to the Ferrari dealership and go stare at the Ferraris. Go to car shows and go and just absorb the energy of those powerful vehicles. Whatever it is that you want to experience, there's ways to experiencing it without having to pay for it. Mm-hmm. But you need to shift the belief that you do not have the money, because you do. What is in your bank account has nothing to do with how much money you have. You do not own money. You do not control money. Money is not a thing that you can hold in your hand. Money is energy. You cannot control energy. You cannot own energy. You can only move energy.
It must flow.
Yes. So you already have the wealth that you need to experience the thing that you want. We cannot have money.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Answers. You don't have to jump in.
You're funny. You're so funny. I love that. Well, thank you so much, guys. What I will do is send this out. Most of you are already on the email, our email list. So I'll send this out as a replay. We will let you know about the 21 days of, is it called Wealth Activation? 21 days?
21 days of wealth. Yeah.
Of wealth. Yes.
Yeah. And actually, while we're talking, the price is $197 US for anybody who has caught this replay.
Oh, awesome.
Or live or replay. Yeah.
Nice. Ooh.
So I'll create a special deal for you guys.
Okay. Yay.
That's how I do pricing.
Okay. Hang on a minute. Perfect. All right. So we will let you know once the sales page for that, you will receive an email from us. Keep an eye on it. Check your junk folder. We'll also share it on the Soul Journey University page and in the tribe. So chances are you won't miss it. And hopefully we'll see you Sunday for our half-day workshop, The Clear Shift. Have a beautiful day. Love you too, Bia. Mwah. Take care and live wealthy. See you guys. Bye.